time for the Pucking Around podcast. Puck around and find out. Well, hey there, everybody. Welcome to the Pucking Around podcast. This is me and the gang. We're going to talk to you about this week. Not doing it very well, but we've got to soldier on, right? We're going to talk about the Atlantic Division this week. So it's going to be the fourth of our looking at the divisions, right? There's 4 divisions. We're going to close that off with the Atlantic, which is the best division because the Montreal Canadiens are in the Atlantic. We're also going to talk about 3 big trades that have happened since the last podcast, and we're going to cover all that. And to tell you a little bit more of how we're going to do this, I'm going to throw it up there to my co-host, Cam.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Pucking Around podcast. Rick, thank you for the wonderful introduction. Yeah, we're going to continue on with our divisional breakdowns of how we thought the teams did in the offseason and where we think they're going to be going into the season that is rapidly approaching, a little over a month away. Very exciting. But before we do that, we've had some exciting breaking news in the NHL this week. So we got a couple topics, 3 of them. So we're going to actually start with the Montreal Canadiens, since we got 2 huge Habs fans here, and they traded for forward Patrick Laine and a 2026 second round pick. And all they had to do was send defenseman Jordan Harris over to Columbus, and Columbus is not eating or retaining any of the salary that Patrick Laine is entitled to, which is about $9 million?
8.7 for 2 years.
So about $9 million. Yeah, so I'm actually going to throw it to Rick and Matt. We'll start with Rick on what they think of the trade, and then we'll go from there.
First, I want to just introduce the other people that I didn't. Beside me over there is my regular co-host, Matt Norton.
What's up?
Up on top of me is, welcome to the show, is Cam's co-host over on Hybro Nation, Matt Vogel. And then over in the far corner, there, in the far corner over there, that's Alex Frenette from the Flyer Gonna Flyer Up podcast. All right. What do I think of this trade? I think this was a fucking fantastic trade for Montreal. Why? Because it ignited the team. I think it's going to ignite the team. Patrick Laine is going to have a comeback to where he's going into his, what do you call that again? Prime. I think he's going to be better than he was previously in the NHL. So eventually at some point during the season, we're going to see that. It might take a little while to start off, but fantastic trade. Gave up only Jordan Harris. We already knew Jordan Harris was going to get moved. And that's all you gave up to get a former second overall pick, 40-goal scorer. I mean, you add him to this team, and if it is successful, our offense just got ignited. So I love it. Absolutely love this trade. And I love the GM. I love our GM. And I'm going to throw it over to Matt.
I mean, he's a top 3 GM in the league. But I'm with you, Rick. I love this trade as well. And even if it doesn't work out, I know you touched on kind of the potential there. If it does work out, everything drops into place. But even if it doesn't work out, his salary is off the book in 2 years. You still get a second round pick. So it's just a masterful asset management. And I agree. I honestly think the Habs are probably the best landing spot for Patrick Laine. I know he's kind of had his health issues and obviously the player assistance program, but even aside from last season, he was still a point a game guy in the seasons that he missed games. So that skill's still there. That shot's definitely still there. I have a lot of confidence that he is going to bounce back.
Just want to put it 480 games, 388 points, his career. That's not bad.
No, and look, I think Midas St. Louis is the type of coach that can really get him to bounce back and be the Patrick Laine that we know and love.
And a big reason why he is so excited to come to Montreal, Marty St. Louis.
Yes, no, absolutely, and he stated that in his press conference, and he talked about wanting to win here. He was asked, how many goals do you think you score? You aiming for like 20? He said, no, I want to score 40 or 50. But even if I don't get that, as long as we win, I'm happy. So I think all things considered, I think he's in a much better mental state than he was, and I'm just excited for the season coming up. I think again this was a probably the best landing spot for him, and I hope he stays healthy. If he does, I think he's going to bounce back.
I just want to add one thing to that. If you win here in Montreal, you're loved here forever. And the fans, once he starts scoring, are going to love this kid. His ego is going to be full, and his confidence is going to be up. He's going to do well here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, we also know that the management, Ken Hughes, Jeff Gordon, did all their homework before they made this trade. They met with Patrick Laine the weekend before the trade to just absolutely 100% make sure that they were going to make the right move. And so, again, it just gives me all the confidence in the world that I think Laine is going to bounce back.
Alex, why don't you go and give us some of your thoughts?
Montreal side of this, I love the move for them. It's a low to medium risk, medium to high. Well, actually, high reward. I can't even say medium reward.
Sky high reward.
You got a former 40-goal scorer, mind you. It's been about 7 years since he hit that plateau, but still, he's capable of doing it. He's only 26 years old. I think he's like a 0.8 points per game guy, something like that. But still, fantastic. Montreal is also acquiring a 2026 second-round pick is mind-boggling to me as well. I figured they would have to give that up. No, I understand.
Ken Hughes wasn't taking on that salary for free.
Right. That's right.
I get, yeah. So there's both sides of this here. But Patrick Laine has a past of success from his days in Winnipeg. Obviously not quite as good in Columbus, not all his fault. But from a personal perspective, I'm happy this kid is landing on his feet. I want to see this kid be successful just in general. He's gone through a lot of BS in his life with his mental health issues, obviously. I want to see him just become the player that he can be. And from there on, what happens. Do I think he'll be a 40-goal scorer next year? I don't know quite about that. I do think he'll be probably in the 30s somewhere, but I do think he will be somewhat close to what he was. It all just depends on the ice time, about his line mates, how invested he is, if he can find a scoring touch from his Winnipeg days. But you got a player who's going to probably be reinvigorated, so that's big. On the other side of this, what in the hell are you doing, Columbus? Once again, showing you are the absolute dumbest damn franchise in this friggin' league. You trade a former 40-goal scorer in a second-round pick. Mind you, I get it. You want to get the entire contract off the book, but it's only for 2 more years. I feel like you do something like that, there's a lot more length on the contract. It feels like 4 or 5 years. You do that for a guy who only has got 2 more years left.
I'm going to disagree with Alex, actually. I think Columbus got exactly what they needed out of that trade. They got defenseman Jordan Harris.
Could have got more. I
don't think
so. Agreed, Cam.
I'm going to disagree with the entire room here because, listen, I understand that his value may have gone down a little bit for the sheer fact of what he went through with the player assistant.
A little bit.
Yes, but
when he got to Columbus, he was garbage. There was a reason why Winnipeg got rid of him.
He wasn't garbage.
I wouldn't go that far. Hold on a minute. He wasn't exactly.
He was not clicking in Winnipeg.
Columbus. The reason why, apparently, though, is there were only 2 or 3 teams interested. So
there
wasn't a lot of offers, and they had to move him.
Don Waddell's hands were tied because he knew he had to move him.
He had to move him.
He had to move him. But if you're the general manager of Columbus, your objective is to get maximum value for a guy, and I don't believe you got that. I understand you want to get rid of the entire contract.
But if you don't take what you can get, are you getting maximum value from Laine to play in your team for the next year? You're not, because he wasn't going to be able to play there.
I think it was a win-win for both teams. I mean, I think Columbus got a little bit less out of the deal, but you're severely undercutting Jordan Harris.
Yeah, you're right.
You're
Harris
right on that. A good player who I feel like has a ceiling of a second pairing defenseman.
They're doing their job though, Alex. They're getting younger. Like the Blue Jackets are going to get younger. They understand they're not going to be anywhere in the next few years.
I mean, so you didn't have to retain salary either. So that's another kind of big part of this on the Columbus side. They did move that whole.
All right, hold on, Alex. Don't stop talking over Matt. Matt, go ahead.
It was still my turn.
But he's rebuttaling you, so go ahead, talk.
No, it was still my turn. I wasn't done yet.
He's rebuttaling you, so he's trying to prove a point against you. So talk.
But no,
So go ahead.
my aspect of this is.
So as I was saying, moving the salary was also kind of I think a win on Columbus's part because you free up now. Harris, I think, was making a little over 1, so you free up like $7.7 million, almost $8 million. So again, I can see some positives on Columbus's side. Yeah.
You're free to rebut that, Alex.
No, I don't want him. I got cut off. Go ahead.
Who did that? I didn't do that.
I
How?
did because Christ, he needs to let someone rebuttal him.
How did you do that? Only Matt and I are supposed to be able to.
Out here cutting me off while I'm trying to finish my point. I wasn't even finished with it yet. I get cut off.
God. Do you have anything to say to Matt's point?
Entertaining here.
Always something entertaining.
I'll finish it with this. I don't think Columbus maximized the value. I love the trade for Montreal. You guys should be happy. I'm complimenting Montreal for this. I think they hit a home run on this. This is a great move for them. I don't think Columbus capitalizes. I think being Don Wendell, you could have got more. I understand your options were limited. But I'll give an example for my team. Claude Giroux, a couple of years ago when we traded him to Florida, we got a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and Owen Tippett. He only wanted to go to one team, and that was Florida. And you maximize the value. And Owen Tippett's a potential 35, 40-goal scorer now. Enough said.
But that doesn't mean that those options were there this time for Columbus.
We had 3 teams, not one.
3 teams, and probably 2 of them didn't want to take the full salary. Montreal was probably the only team that would take the full salary, and that's why the deal was made.
I thought that was a good value. You're offering a second-round pick. You're offering a second-round pick to basically say, we don't want to eat anything. That's what it is. Outside of that, Jordan Harris for Laine straight up, I think is a pretty good deal, provided with what Jordan Harris's ceiling is and for what Laine has put up over the past few years. Laine is also older. Harris is younger. So to give me,
like 2 years.
if I'm willing to take, if I'm like
not
willing
that much
to
of a
take,
gap.
that's still a gap. 2 years
is
is a gap. How old is Laine? 26? There's a big difference in the NHL between 26 and 24. Huge difference between developmental and skill set. Matt will probably agree with me on this, and I mean Vogel because he loves me. And
I don't want to get muted, but I actually agree with Alex.
Yeah, I don't
want to. I don't want to get.
I don't know. All I'm saying is like
on this the fucking around.
You're gonna
podcast,
get muted after that one.
Let Vogel speak because he has some common sense here. Go ahead, Vogel.
Yeah,
the floor is yours.
I mean, judging by Laine's past, I know he's had a couple down years, and obviously that he had the issues with the player assistant program and all that. But I mean, if I think that Columbus, like you said, didn't maximize what they could have gotten in return. I don't know a ton about Jordan Harris. I mean, I take you guys' word for it that he's a solid defenseman. But I mean, Laine's been for the. I mean, as long as he's been in the NHL, he's had some pretty solid years. Even taking it, and not to take anything from Montreal, that's a great trade for Montreal. I think that he's probably going to fit in pretty well there. And I hate to say it because I'm obligated to like him less now, but I think it's a good move for Montreal, and I don't think that by any means that Columbus got fleeced, but I mean they probably could have gotten more in return.
Yeah, but you say that, but there were 3 teams interested. Nobody else was interested. The GM has to move the guy before camp. And
yes, no, I understand that. I understand that.
And Montreal saying we'll take him without retaining the salary. I think that's the reason why they sent him to Montreal.
Which again, judging by the circumstance, Montreal definitely took advantage of the situation. I mean,
100%.
They made out like bandits. I mean,
yep.
But to Alex's point, I can see what. Yeah, I can see where Alex is coming. We're coming where he might not have. Columbus might not have gotten.
Well, if there was
could have
a
tried to get
war,
more. I mean, who knows?
If there was a bidding war, okay, but
yeah, and again, who knows if they tried and that's what they just settled on, but
I can't answer.
That's what I mean. I mean, we won't know.
I'll add one last point if you don't mind.
I do.
You talk.
I fucking do. Actually, yeah, I do. You talk for 5 minutes. Take a breath. Take a breath, big dog.
Oh, I gotta add this too. It's a 30-second point. You talk about eating.
You have 10. You have 10 starting now.
You talk about eating the full contract. The guy's got 2 years left. I'll eat a little bit of salary if it means maximizing the value and take.
But they didn't want to, obviously. They didn't want to.
And that's called not maximizing the value then as a GM. If you're a rebuilding team, who cares about eating a little bit of dead cap?
Okay, as long as you know for sure what their cap situation is and what their plans are, you can say that. If you don't, then you can't.
Exactly.
All right, moving on.
And who's to say what the other team's offers were? All right, the second piece of big news, and I promise I won't mute Alex this time unless he just takes a breath and lets other people speak every once in a while to try and refute him. Nashville and San Jose made a trade. Nashville received forward David Edstrom, goaltender Magnus Krona, a top 10 protected Vegas Golden Knight 2025 first round pick. And then San Jose received goaltender Yaroslav Askarov and forward Nolan Burke and a 2025 third round pick. Matt, why don't you lead us off?
Yeah, well, I want to start with the San Jose side because now they've solidified their guys at forward, defense, and now goaltender. You know, obviously at forward they got Celebrini this year. Will Smith will probably be coming in at the end of the year. Two phenomenal, young, very highly skilled forwards. Get Sam Dickinson this past draft as well. He's your number one D-man of the future. And now you just brought in Askarov. Yeah. Askarov, who's now your goaltender of the future. And I think we can all agree that Askarov's one of the best young goaltenders in hockey. And I think although maybe a little selfish, I think, he deserved to be playing NHL hockey, and he wasn't going to get that in Nashville, especially after they re-signed UC Saros. So I totally understand why he didn't want to report to the AHL. I get it. I think he's good enough to play NHL hockey, and he's going to get that chance in San Jose. And they've really done a good job bringing in those kind of star players in the future over there. They've really gotten this rebuild off to a pretty good start now that there's some competency.
Alex, why don't you go?
I'll piggyback a little bit off of Matt. I agree. I love what San Jose did with this. They have now 4 future cornerstone players on that team, and Celebrini, Smith, Dickinson, and now Asarov. I like what San Jose got. I don't know much about Nolan Burke. I'm not going to act like I do, but the main piece was getting the number one goalie prospect in hockey out of this. And you gave up Edstrom, Krona, and a first-round pick. Nashville got what they could for this. You added a first. You added some extra pieces. You got another goalie back in return. I like this trade for both sides, but I really love it for San Jose. They know they're going to be asked for another 2 years, so you may as well just embrace that. You've got 4 core pieces already. You got 2 elite centers, or potential elite centers, I should say. You got your number one future defenseman in Sam Dickinson, and now you got your potential future number one goaltender in Askarov. So overall, I think San Jose hit a home run, and Nashville did good for what they could have got.
I just think this was a good hockey trade. I genuinely think that's it. Both teams got exactly what they needed out of it. I mean, they got a backup goaltender. Nashville got a backup goaltender. I guess I don't know much about them. They got a forward piece, but the biggest thing was that they got a 2025 first round pick. Like in Vegas, they're not going to be bottom 10 in the league, but there is potential where that could be a 12, 14 or something. So I mean that's a huge go around, especially for them when they're going to have UC Saros for a while, so they don't really need Askarov at the current moment. So yeah, I don't know. Rick, what do you think?
Let Vogel go first.
Are you going to let him go? That's nice. We're passing the torch, Vogel. Welcome to the team.
I really don't have a ton to add. I mean, I think Matt and Alex really covered that. I mean, like you said, San Jose is not they're not in win now mode. They're looking towards the future. Like Alex said, they might be asked for the next couple of years, but I mean, they have. It seems like they have an idea of what direction they want to go into, and that trade is going to help them get there.
Sorry, Matt. Before we go to Rick, I actually want to say that I actually think this accelerated their
I was going to say that
their rebuild. Yeah, it did. I think it did because there was one of the biggest questions that they had. They had the defensemen, they had some of the future forwards coming in. The biggest question for them of like how they were going to add it was the goaltender, and well, there you go. They just got it.
So obviously they had a vision of how they were going to do it, and they went out and made moves. And like you said, I think that they're not in win now mode. Definitely not this year. Probably not next year. So a couple of years down the road, who knows what kind of San Jose team we're looking at.
That's very true.
Yeah,
very true.
Totally agree. Like at the trade deadline last year, I thought the new GM, right? He's pretty new, Mike Greer, I think. Like this guy, they're going to be bad for like 10 years, right? That's what it looked like. And then after the draft and then getting Askarov, that really accelerated their rebuild. It has to, because you're not going to find a number one goalie like that. That's a pretty good goalie, and number one goalie like that. And the price they gave up, a first round pick. I mean, that's fair. So I thought that's a really good deal for.
Wasn't their own too? It was like you said, it's
Right.
Vegas. So
yeah, no,
not
so
going to be in the top 10. But Cam, I do agree. I think there is a chance that could be right around that 13-14 realm, which again, it's a good spot for.
Yeah,
for
no, that's a good thing. Now for Nashville, they weren't in a great position there, right? Askarov demanding a trade, not going to report to the AHL. Nashville had signed also a backup goalie, I think, is what Wedgwood or something like that, which was a problem, and that's why I think Askarov asked out. Okay, I don't really like players doing that, and it seems to me it's a trend now with young players in the NHL. I do understand Askarov's reasoning, but so I think for Nashville, who was forced into this, yeah, I mean, that's not bad. It's not bad. I'm okay
I don't
with
think
it.
it's a trend. I think this was actually justified. I think when you're expecting and you've shown that you can play pretty well at the NHL level, and he's 22 at this point.
Yeah, I think he's only 22, 23, maybe.
Yeah, so give him an opportunity, and I think he was done. He wants to be an NHL goalie. He's shown that he wants to be an NHL goalie. So I think that's fair.
Yeah, no, I do. I don't understand why Nashville brought in Wedgwood instead of thinking that Askarov would. So I wonder what the reasoning is there.
I like this for Nashville too for this year. But I mean, I don't give Askarov as much crap as Cutter or Rucker in this instance because there's not a path for the minimum of about 8 years. You're not going to be starting there with the long extension of Saros. Question, is that Vegas pick protected?
Yes.
Yeah.
Top 10 protected.
Top 10 protected? Yeah, I figured. All right, yeah, but regardless, I like what Nashville got. They had their hands tied. They got a decent return. I think this trade was fine for both sides.
A hockey trade.
It was a hockey trade. No, it was legit a hockey trade. It was actually a really good trade.
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I don't think any team lost. I don't think any team won. I think they both benefited from it.
Yeah, that's what I said. Fine for both sides.
The third piece was that we had a 1-for-1 deal between Pittsburgh and Winnipeg, where Pittsburgh received forward Rutger McGroarty and Winnipeg received Braden Yeager. Alex, why don't you take us off on this one? Because I'm probably just as confused as you are.
Never change, Pittsburgh. Never change. Dubas, I don't know why you're giving up your number one prospect for – Rutger McGroarty, I get it, who might – depending on who you ask, may have a higher ceiling than him. I think it's pretty close, but you're trading for a guy who seems like he has some character issues, who now we have found out that literally has come out to say it just didn't feel right, where when he got drafted, he stated, oh, yeah, I grew up a Winnipeg Jets fan. This is where I wanted to be. I'm so excited to be here. And then with no rhyme or reason comes out and says, this didn't feel right, a.k.a. Cutter-Gauthier syndrome. Funny enough, they have the same agent. What a shock. And they're pretty good buddies off the ice, but besides the point. But, yeah, I guess I got a slightly higher ceiling player. I actually like Brandon Yager. I thought that was probably Pittsburgh's best prospect in general. I think him going to Winnipeg in a situation where he's probably got another year or two until he plays, but in a position where he's going to have a real chance to excel. And it also kind of reflects on Pittsburgh, like, hey, yeah, if we don't think that you're really going to be worthwhile for us, we're going to dump you off quickly. I think it's a weird look on the Penguins, even though they got the better player. That's just my opinion.
All right. No, nice. I'm really not going to add much to that. I was kind of surprised that Alex was kind of short. Sorry. I'm so shocked. That was pretty quick. No, I was just surprised that Pittsburgh traded Braden Yeager, whatever.
Right, his name is time.
for Rutger, and I don't know. I just don't think it was a trade necessary unless they were still trying to win with Sidney Crosby, which is I think exactly what they're trying to do. They're going to try and just do this until he's 90. So that's it. I'm just surprised. I thought it was a meh trade. I wasn't impressed, wasn't happy, but I don't know. Vogel.
I'm kind of in that camp too. I don't know a ton I've heard about McGroarty. I don't know a ton about him. I mean, I seems like Alex knows a lot more than I do about this. So good pickup for Pittsburgh. I don't know. I don't really know much else other than that.
I'm going to say that I think Winnipeg's GM is probably better than. I mean, McGroarty's going to be good. He'll probably start for them right away, right? And I don't know much about Jaeger, but you would think if Winnipeg had to trade a guy that they're dealing from a lesser position, yet they got somebody good, right? And it's a 1-for-1. So I think you're right. Pittsburgh wants to win now. And they kind of have to. I mean, until Crosby and Malkin aren't there, what are they going to do? Admit that they're not going to win from the day one? I don't think they can.
Crosby
right?
now?
So
35,
that's what this is to me.
36?
Speeds up that
36.
player into their system on the on the NHL team. And I don't know. That's all I got.
I just want to say this, that they're screwed when Crosby and Malkin leave, and they're likely going to leave at the same time. That team's going to fall tremendously.
Yeah.
It's not even going to be close.
Yeah.
They're going to fall right to the bottom of the league.
Yep.
Yeah, so they have a short window.
But quite frankly, once you do fall out of it, you want to fall right to the bottom of the league. So you can quicker to start over. So
I agree. Matt.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think Pittsburgh is doing everything they can to win now. I do think Recco McGroarty's got a higher ceiling than Braden Jaeger. I also think, again, the big reason that I think Pittsburgh was already giving up Braden Jaeger is Recco McGroarty can come in and probably play middle 6 minutes right now, maybe even second line, because he is that good. He's supremely talented. He's put up a ton of points at the NCAA level, kind of junior level before that. I don't know how far away Braden Jaeger is from cracking the NHL. So I think, again, that really played into it. And, when the time comes, the Penguins fall off, you're going to have a good piece there to kind of build around at that time. So
good point.
I like it a little bit better for Pittsburgh. But, again, I don't think Winnipeg did poorly at all. I think Braden Jaeger is a very good prospect, highly talented. No, not bad.
Yeah. All right. Well, with that being said, let's move on to the Atlantic Rising. So same format as last time, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to go from the bottom of the division all the way up to the eventual Stanley Cup winner in the Florida Panthers, but we'll get there. And I'm going to take every ounce of enjoyment in saying this, that in 8th place in the Atlantic Division, we're going to start with the Montreal Canadiens, and no better people to lead us off than Matt and Rick. But before they do, we're just going to mention the additions and subtractions that Montreal had done over the summer. So for the biggest addition, they obviously added Patrick Laine, as formerly discussed, and they subtracted Jordan Harris and forward Tanner Pearson. With that, Matt, Rick,
and just Ullinen.
And yeah, that's right. You got Ullinen. They didn't qualify, I think. All right, so I think you got to add somebody there to the additions, but that's me. Lane Hudson's making this team, and that is going to be a huge addition for Montreal in this upcoming season. So last year, they finished at the bottom of the division. It was what we expected, basically. We got the team we were expecting. The injury to Kirby Dach didn't help, that kind of stuff. This year, though, we're looking at a different attitude of what the team wants to accomplish this coming season, and their goal is to make the playoffs. I am of the mind that they probably are just going to miss, but could make it also. So it's a different headset, like a headset. These are headsets. A different mindset. It's a different, outlook for the season. And I just think adding Patrick Laine, that's the last piece of the puzzle that you could say now the rebuild's over. Yeah, no, the pieces aren't all there on the NHL team yet, but the pieces are in the system now
Mm-hmm.
to make this team the start of their contending years. They'll add pieces over the years, obviously, but yeah, I think the pieces are there. We're going to make the playoffs maybe this year, but next year, I don't think that's in doubt, and we'll be there for a long time. And we're going to make you two up there very unhappy over the next 10 years, I think.
I just think that was a bold take before we move to Matt's thoughts. I think that was a bold take that you guys are going to make the playoffs this year. I think the Atlantic.
I said might. I didn't say will.
Even then, the Atlantic is one of the most competitive divisions in the NHL, if not the most competitive.
It is the most competitive.
Yeah, I'm actually glad. Actually, yeah, I'm glad that they're starting to become competitive. I mentioned it to you guys a long time, but Matt, I'll get into that. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, look, I think adding Patrick Laine solidified that last top 6 forward we needed going forward. Obviously, Demidov's going to come over next year. He'll take that other wing spot from Newhook.
Yeah.
But I think, adding that really kind of solidified. All right, the building process, the actual rebuild, the building part of the rebuild is over. Obviously we have dynamic young defenseman coming in Lane Hudson, who's going to be fantastic.
Oh God, yeah.
Obviously, and last year too, our top line, that Caulfield, Suzuki, Solkowski line, was a top 5 line in the league statistically, and I think that they continue that momentum. I think for me the biggest question mark is the health of Kirby Dach, and I think that's kind of be echoed around all of us. But for me, if he could be healthy, if we can get 70, 75 games out of him, maybe even 80, I'm happy with that, because I think you get that many games out of him, he's going to be terrific and just help Patrick Laine kind of bounce back. On the back end, obviously, like I said, Lane Hudson's going to make the team. He's just such a dynamic hockey player, dynamic defenseman. Just super creative in the offensive zone, so unpredictable. You really don't know what he's going to do when he has the puck. Caden Gooley, obviously, after signing his extension, will be back. He'll play on the top line with Mike Matheson. I think Caden Gooley's turning into one of the best shutdown young D-men in the league. Just such a good skater, especially skating backwards. You got on the second line, I believe that is also going to be David Savard to pair with Lane Hudson, which, again, we saw that for a couple games at the end of last season. Worked pretty well. And then the third pair is Arbor Jacki, and then pick one of probably Struble or Justin Barron, or a lot of experts like to think Logan Mailloux may make the team, which I think there's definitely a legitimate shot there. And if he makes the team, again, that's just another dynamic to add, another really good puck-moving defenseman, offensive defenseman. And then in net, I think it's stable, it's solid. They're not, Montembeault and Caden Primo aren't world beaters per se, but they're solid goaltenders. They're NHL goaltenders. They'll be fine. They're not going to be out, absolutely insane, but they're not bad. So, I think
what, that potential is there, that they could be that good, though. I think that's my opinion. Sorry, I had to throw that in.
No, I mean it's certainly there, but I think this is the first year you see that Habs take a pretty big step back into playoff contention. I don't think we're gonna make the playoffs, but I have a hard time feeling that we're gonna finish any lower than probably 5th in the division, maybe even 4th. I think it's gonna be kind of close. I thought we were better than Ottawa throughout the summer. I think we're definitely way better than Ottawa now. I think we're better than Buffalo.
I don't think you're better than Buffalo. I think they got you beat on defense.
Sure.
I think they have you beat on defense. They have you beat on goaltender. It's a question mark.
On goaltender? Devin Levi was awful last year. What are you talking about?
They've already announced that Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is going to be the starting goaltender.
Yeah.
And their defense, have you seen their defense? Yours is, I'm sorry, it's not a comparison.
I still think we're better than Buffalo.
Games have to be played on the ice, my friend.
And then Detroit's kind of a wild card. I don't know. The Yzer plan kind of got flipped on its head and turned around every which way.
I like to call it the Yzer scam now. Let's put a T-shirt of that.
Yeah, no, I think we're gonna finish higher than Ottawa, and I think we're gonna finish higher than Buffalo.
So then, where do you? We'll round off with your thoughts on where you think they finish.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
We're gonna finish any lower than 5th.
Rick, what do you have to say?
Same thing. I think I had said 6 going into before the line A trade. That pushes it up 1. And I think they just miss. Like I think they're just 1 or 2 points out of the wild card for the playoffs.
All right, Alex, what are your thoughts on Montreal?
I do think they're going to be better this year. Let me start with that. But I'm not as high on them as those two obviously are for at least this year. A lot of it has to do with is Kirby Dach going to stay healthy. You want to talk about a guy who's a giant wild card, your second line center, who has been hyped up quite a bit, has never put up 40 points this season. Now, a lot of it has to do with injury, obviously. He's a former number 3 overall pick, so he obviously has high potential, but this guy's development has been hindered with the torn ACL, some ankle injuries. So a big question mark goes with him. Is Slafkovsky going to take another step? The second half of the year, he was absolutely fantastic. Is Cole Caulfield going to finally become that 30-plus consistent goal scorer that I've heard of? Is Newhook going to be a legit top sixer? Like there's still questions in Montreal. I think this team's going to be good. I don't have them ending last in the division this year for sure. I think they'll be better than what they were the last couple of years. In my opinion, they still don't have a number 1 defenseman right now on this team. Caden Gooley's probably the closest thing to that.
What's Mike Matheson?
Actually, I disagree with that.
I don't think Mike Matheson's a true number 1.
I think Lane Hudson is pretty close to a number 1 D-man.
Okay, hold on. This guy,
Alex, you saw him play in person.
Yes,
don't you dare disrespect him, or I'll come to your fucking
played,
house.
He's played 2 career games.
Go get him, Matt.
Let's back it up a little bit. You guys are freaking ejaculating all over the place. Chill, okay? This guy's good. I'm not saying Lane Hudson's going to be a bum. He's probably going to be a offensive defenseman putting up 60-plus points for years to come. I know he's going to be good. I've seen how good he's going to be playing. But let's not lose our minds over 2 games against Detroit. Chill. They don't have right now on the ice, not one of those guys is a true number 1 defenseman at this moment. Could Lane Hudson become one later on? Possibly. Yeah, I'm not ruling that out.
Why?
They have it. They have it in Lane Hudson.
Somebody has to explain to me.
Defenseman right now. Stop.
Or Ryan Bach.
No, somebody has to explain that to
right
me.
Now. That's
why is Mike Matheson not a number 1 defenseman? Why?
Mike Matheson's had 1 good career year. That's not a number 1 defenseman.
He's got a point, Rick.
He's had 1 good year. Like, can we stop overrating that? He's had 1 good year with
guy plays 27 minutes a game.
He's not a number 1
puts up 60 points a season.
1 year. 1 year. He's had 1 good year.
2.
Oh, 2. Holy shit. No. Stop the press.
He's been in the league how long? How come he can't be qualified as a number 1 defenseman?
He's not a number 1 defenseman. Okay.
Let's go down all the good teams.
Number 1 defenseman. Is he a Victor Hedman good?
No.
You don't have to be good. You don't have to be Victor Hedman good to be number 1 defenseman. Why? Because he is the best defenseman here, and I'm sorry, he's a legitimate number 1 defenseman.
He's not a number 1 defenseman.
No, I could name literally better players on.
Can you name 32 better?
Yeah, I can name.
Yeah, actually, I can.
Yeah, I could. If you
then Mike Matheson? No, then you guys just don't watch enough Habs games.
I think he's good. I'm not saying he's probably in my eyes.
No, but he's not. Yeah. I agree with Alex. He's not a bona fide what you would consider a true 1 defenseman. Is he your top pairing D? Of course.
He's a number 1 defenseman the same way Nick Suzuki's a number 1 center. How's that?
You don't have a choice for him to be your number 1 center. That's one of your most talented people, but that does not make Nick Suzuki probably a top 10 center in the league. Like, you know what I mean? That's not what Alex is saying. Alex is
a top 16 right now. Right now, going into this season, he has been rated top 16. Yeah, that makes him a number 1 defenseman, center legitimately.
We're arguing Matheson, not Suzuki.
Yeah, so those are apples to oranges. You're comparing a center to a defenseman. I mean, it's not the same. And I'm actually in agreement with Alex.
You tried to disparage my captain, so
let that sink in. Right there, me and Cameron agreeing on something.
Yeah. So wait, is this a sin bin? Are we being ageist again, Rick? Do we need to
yes
you back?
Yes, taking advantage.
All right, that's it. Get the cane. We're beating his ass again. Like,
all right, but.
Sorry, Alex, to interrupt you.
That's fine.
I want to help you with this point and say, like, Alex is not saying he's not a top pairing defenseman, but he is not an NHL what you would consider a bona fide 1D. Yeah. He can be a 2D, and you can have, in your top pairing, you can have 2 bona fide 2Ds, but they're not really a bona fide NHL like 1D, like Charlie McAvoy, for example, Zach Werenski, Moritz Seider. All these people those are 1Ds.
Yeah. I want to actually add a point to that.
I'll just still disagree with you.
You mentioned Mike Matheson's good years. I'm going to give you an example with my team. Shane Gostisbehere in 2016 and 2018. 2016, he almost had 70 points. I never considered Shane Gostisbehere number one defenseman, not for 1 second. He was a quarterback power play defenseman who was probably a number 2, 3 while he was there. But
Did he handle the minutes that Matheson does?
Yeah, he was
the matchups that Matheson does.
He was getting over 20 minutes a game. Yes, that's a number one defenseman.
Yeah, Matheson's not just getting. He's not just getting. He's not just getting over 20 minutes a game. He's getting 26, 27, 28 minutes a game.
When Mike Matheson, when Mike Matheson is one of your only hopes for survival, and the rest of your decor at the time when he was getting those minutes is not really sufficient, I kind of don't blame him for getting that amount of time.
Yes, I agree with
you. Like your time, you said it yourself, Rick. Your ice time is earned. So either he's playing enough to get those 27 minutes, or the other players are not playing to their caliber to the point to be able to get minutes from him. So it might not just be attributed to Matheson. It might just be attributed to the whole defensive core. That is true.
Well, we're going to find out this year. We're going to find out this year.
Anyway, I don't want to eat up any more time. I'll give my prediction of Montreal. I have them 6th in the division. I have them ahead of Ottawa. And I think, believe it or not, I have them barely ahead of Buffalo points, but not by much. I like Montreal's forward core better than Buffalo's. So I'll put them 6th.
All right, I'll go, and then I'll let Matt Vogel rip into them. As a Boston Bruins fan, no, I think, to be honest with you, Montreal did a phenomenal job improving this offseason. I think they did. They added wonderful pieces at the draft. They have Lane Hudson coming up. I'm very excited, despite my arguments with Rick, to see Montreal competitive in the league. As a league fan, as a Boston Bruins fan, go to hell. But in all seriousness, I'm very excited because I think the league is a far better place when the majority of the original 6 teams are competitive against each other, and it makes things just that much more fun to watch. I, like Alex, have Montreal at 6th. I actually think they're better than Ottawa. That's no surprise because Ottawa's locker room is garbage. I think they're better than Detroit in terms of defense and goaltending, and they may have some advantage on offense too, with that addition of Line, because who knows how much that Detroit offense is going to be able to carry. So I'm kind of giving you like my 8 and 7 spot already, but there it is. I have them 6th. I don't have them finishing any better than 6th, but they could finish 7th. But I think I agree with Alex that a lot of it depends on Kirby Dach's health, and you guys already put it very well in your synopsis. So I don't know. I yield to Mr. Daddy V. Vogel.
Be gentle.
Fuck the Canadians. No, like you were saying, the Boston fan in me wants to say, last in the division, last in the league, bottom of the barrel. But as a hockey fan, we guys already covered most of it. They made a bunch of good moves. I think they're going to be better this year. Probably have them around the same, 6th or 7th in the division. I don't think they're going to be anywhere near a playoff spot. Sorry, Rick. But okay. I think they're going to be better than last year.
You're allowed to be wrong, You're allowed.
Good. We should start a punishment wheel.
Ooh, I love a good wheel. Well, I think that they'll be better. They'll be better than they were last year, but I don't think that they're going to be, in the top half of division. So I can see them, 6 or 7.
I think the year after, I'll give you guys this, not this year, but the year after, where Tampa finally starts to go on a rapid decline. I think give them another year, and I think you guys you're pretty much in there. I think that's where I think it is, but I don't think this year. You may sniff it, but it's not going to be a close sniff.
I'll say that's fair. I mean that's a fair
like
analysis from you guys. I'm not gonna.
I
disagree, but I think you're fair, and I just think you're I mean, it could be my rose-colored glasses. You could say that, I guess. But I legitimately feel that this is going to be a great season. Anyway, let's move on. We've taken too much
I do
time
respect the ride or die from Rick, though. I
will respect that. I don't know.
I'm
just looking at Matt's depressed face. He just goes, "These freaking bastards making fun of my team. They're horrible people. I'm so depressed. I'm sad."
I don't think you. No, I agree with Rick. I don't think you guys watch enough Habs games. I don't think that you're well in tune with what's going on as he and I are. Like the term "sleeping giant" is thrown around a lot, and I think that's perfectly applicable to the Habs. You know, I
just
think
want to add
we're still a young team. There are players developing, but when they get going, the rest of the league's in trouble. Big trouble.
In 2 years.
I say, yeah. But look out. Look out.
All right, Alex has one last comment, then we'll go to the 7th place team.
If I remember correctly, you guys had them around 10th to 12th worst record in the league last year. You were 5th worst. So let's ease up on it.
Well, when your number 2 center blows his knee out in the second game of the season,
that shouldn't have made you drop that
matter.
much. And you should be considering that's a good thing because you wouldn't have got them a dog.
Yeah, okay. But what you're
moving on,
not,
Ottawa. Moving on.
No, we're moving on.
Not getting.
We're moving on. What you're not getting is moving to Ottawa. That's what you're not getting.
Our young players are more experienced this year and are going to be better. Let's go to the next team.
There we go.
Okay, and Rick gets the last word. I'm glad we had that covered. All right,
gotta have it, man.
Okay, he's still going. Let's move on to the 7th place team in the Ottawa Senators, where they.
Oh my God, we're still in the last place team.
Yeah.
Let's go through these guys quick because there's not much to talk about.
They added goaltender Linus Ullmark, defenseman Nick Jensen, forward Noah Gregor, forward David Perron. They lost. I don't know if you want to call it a loss. Jonas Korpisalo, forward Mark Kastelic, defenseman Eric Brännström. I guess let me start this one, fellas. Just because it's my goaltender, and it kind of upset me to kind of see them go to Ottawa, but I understood it, and I'm even more begrudging because we took Jonas Korpisalo back in the trade.
Who's now your starting goalie for the time being?
Yeah, for the time being until Swaybe gets signed. Yeah,
Kastelic.
No, Kastelic's actually really good. Whatever. But I think they actually got worse over the summer. I mean, to me, they lost Eric Brännström. That was a good defenseman. They were cap strapped. They had some issues. I mean, I don't even know where that team's going. I'm gonna even just cut it short. I don't even think they deserve my attention in this podcast right now with how they've been handling their whole situation. The defense is going to be a mess. Nothing's clicking on the offense. The only thing I think that they got that is good for them is Linus Ullmark, because he's proved it. Everyone else on that team outside of Claude Giroux needs to do something. So, the 8th in the division. That's all I'll say, and then we'll pivot over to Matt.
I want to ask you one question. Why would Ullmark waive to go there?
I have no idea. Couldn't tell you. I bet
Sounds like he's about to sign an extension there as well.
Yeah, they had a gun to his head.
I don't understand that. Okay,
they had
go
a
ahead.
gun to his head.
Whoever's
next, bona fide one. I mean, instead of splitting time.
I guess maybe.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't really want to spend much time in the Senators. I mean, besides Ullmark, they suck. Like, I like Brady Tkachuk and Tim Stützle are great players, but there's still a lot of tension in that locker room. Tim Stützle obviously has his diving problem. There's still so.
He's a fucking Olympian for diving.
They're gonna finish dead last in the division. Linus Ullmark isn't enough to just help that team.
Let's go to Rick.
How dare you bring up Stützle? God, I hate that guy.
He's skilled. I mean, he's a highly skilled.
Well, he is.
Player.
He's 100% skilled.
Okay, but think how good he'd be if he was off the ice.
You have to have skill. He won gold. He won gold, dude.
But how much better would he be in the NHL if he spent more time skating than lying on his goddamn back on the ice pretending he's hurt?
Listen, I don't want to know why that man is lying on his back. So why don't we just leave that out of this podcast?
We're gonna leave that there. Okay.
I give the dive at 8.6.
Ullmark is not enough to put out the fire in the dumpster that is Ottawa. That is true. To me, losing Korpisalo and Kastelic, great moves for them. And not great for the team that got them, but that's different. Listen, we don't need to spend time on Ottawa. They're going to be dead last and there's something wrong there. I don't know what it is. There's something wrong there.
Alex.
I'm going to go a little bit more in tune with Ottawa than these guys. Because I listen, I'll say this. I'm done riding the Ottawa train because last year I had them making the playoffs. I'm not going to make that statement.
So I'm sorry. You mean you're done riding Claude Giroux's dick?
I will never disrespect my captain. Thank you very much. But anyway, Ottawa on paper is better than they should be playing. I mean, that top six is solid. Tkachuk, Stützle, Giroux, Norris, Batherson, Shane Pinto would be better than a 3C almost in 80% of the NHL teams. But
I'd bet on that.
So on paper, this team is better than they show. Jake Sanderson, I think, has the potential, not saying he is right now, but the potential to be a future number one defenseman. Thomas Chabot's still there. One major loss that I don't think we mentioned with them, Chikrin's gone. Oh, boy, wait a minute. Yeah, Chikrin's gone. So that's something. But I look at Ottawa right now. They did add Ullmark, which is big. They had one of the worst goaltending save percentages in hockey last year, so that should help. But the issues with Ottawa stem further than on the ice. There is a dysfunction in that locker room, as Cam said. I absolutely agree with that. For that, not the talent, but the dysfunction perspective, I have them last in the division. And one final thing to add. Please, for the love of God, trade Claude Giroux to a team where this guy can fucking compete for a cup. I'm sick of seeing this poor soul not be in playoff games. He needs a cup before he retires. Trade him to Edmonton so this guy has a real chance to win.
Edmonton doesn't have any money.
I don't care. Find a way to make it happen.
Like, what do you
send them Darnell Nurse so they can eat that friggin' cap and suck in the basement forever.
Daddy V, what do you got?
Not a ton. Like I think the general consensus is they're probably going to finish last. It sucks to lose Ullmark. Boston's kind of in goalie hell right now, but we'll get to that. I think that they're last place. So Montreal's out of the basement. I think what they did with center ice this year is pretty cool. Should you guys see that new design?
Up, the puck's gonna get lost in the spot.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's really all I got for them.
Yeah.
Wait, you said Montreal's out of the basement?
Out of last place
in the division.
Yeah.
I just want to say what's wrong in their locker room. I think big part of it is Brady Tkachuk as captain. He's too immature. He's not a great leader.
I don't know if it's just, I think the team's too young, similar to what we touched upon this. I think it's similar in the way in the early 2010s when the entire Edmonton Oilers team was just basically a bunch of 20-year-olds that are immature and their captain was Andrew Ference. Yeah. It's hard to wrap in those egos. It is. It's difficult. So I think it's just that. I think they're all just young. No veteran leadership.
Who would you give the C to? Giroux?
I don't know. Yeah, I guess. I mean, you're the guy. It's your guy.
That's what I mean. Who else?
Former captain.
No, it's true.
They should do.
It's true.
But he's going to probably get traded at the deadline anyway when Ottawa sucks again. So
giving Claude Giroux the captaincy is not the only thing Alex would do for Giroux. I'm just throwing that out there.
That is my king. I will defend Claude Giroux until the grave. I am campaigning the Claude Giroux Hall of Fame speech in a couple years from now.
Are you saying he would voluntarily drop the soap in the shower?
I'm saying he would give Giroux the soap.
All I'm saying is Claude Giroux is
knock it out of his hands and then wait for him to pick it up.
That is my captain. I will always defend that man.
All right, let's move on.
Moving on to the sixth place team, the Buffalo Sabres. They added some pretty good, additions. They got Jason Zucker, Ryan McLeod, James Reimer, although that's probably not a great addition. Beck Melanston, Sam Lafferty, Nicholas Obey-Kubel. They lost Jurgensons, Tyson Jost, Victor Olofsson, Eric Robinson, Matt Savoie, Jeff Skinner, Eric Comrie. Actually, I'd actually say their additions outweighed their losses. I was really surprised with the loss of Matt Savoie. I thought that they were going to take him or keep him. Vogel, why don't we start with you on Buffalo?
I don't really have any hot takes about Buffalo. I think that they're probably going to be exactly where they were last year. I know that you just said they added a bunch. They lost a bunch, but I still don't see them, making any real noise in this division.
Where do you think they're going to finish?
Exactly. 6. Probably, probably again around same as last year. Sixers. I think that spot is, that could go either Montreal or Buffalo. That 6-7 spot.
Yeah. All right, Rick.
Oh, I'm next. Okay. Let's see. They lost. Jeff Skinner kind of surprised me. That I don't know. Was that known that he was going to leave?
I feel like that they were done with him.
They were done with him. Okay. I don't know.
They paid such a large amount of money for him
True.
not to do anything. I really don't blame any of the players that were on Buffalo. Sorry to add to that,
Okay.
Rick, but I'll get to that point when you're finished.
No, that's fine. I don't mind. Yeah, so that was a name that surprised me. I guess Savoie too. Yeah, I don't know. I think Montreal's better, as I said earlier, than Buffalo. If everything clicks with Montreal, I think they're better. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna finish. They're perennially never gonna make the playoffs. I mean, that's just it's been 14 years they haven't made the playoffs.
Yeah,
They're not gonna make it this year.
Ever since they lost Ryan Miller.
And I just wanted one last thing. It's Gergensons and Yost. That's how you pronounce it.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
I just had to get that out there.
Cam is the king of mispronouncing names.
That's okay. That's why I'm here, because people can comment on it and be like, "You really suck. You need to find a guy that does it." And I'm gonna be like, "Nope. I'll make it a bit. I don't even care." Matt, let's go to you.
Buffalo, I like their decor. That's
apparently my name's not Matt.
Apparently, yeah. Apparently not.
Wait, what?
We're just shooting for the wind here. Matt, go ahead.
I thought you said Alex. I'm sorry.
It's fine. You guys have names that sound similar. Matt, Alex.
It's the same. Virtually.
It's the same. I totally get it.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh my God, you gotta get hearing aids, bro. Anyway, no, look, I like a lot of the pieces Buffalo has. I still think Devin Levi could be a very good goaltender. Not quite there yet. We kind of saw Owen Power and Rasmus Dahlin sort of find their way near the end of the season. Hopefully that continues. Other than that, Buffalo's still a mixed bag for me. And as long as the Pagulas are in charge, they're not going to be a playoff team. It's the Pagulas owned the Bills for a long time. Once they let football people come in and run the Bills, they started getting good. They haven't done that with the hockey team yet, and it shows. And until they bring hockey people in to run the hockey team and Kim Pagula gets her hands off of it, they're going to be a perennial kind of basement team. I don't really see them making the playoffs. It's such a mixed bag. There's pieces, but I just don't think there's really enough at all.
No cohesiveness to the pieces.
Yeah.
Where do you have them finish?
I have them in 6th.
Okay, not bad. So improved.
A little bit, yeah.
It was 6 last year. That's not really improved.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
well,
they
they definitely improved.
I'm not sure, but I think I have them in the video I did in last.
That's bold. I don't think they'd be last.
So it's either Ottawa, Buffalo, Detroit, or Buffalo, Ottawa. I'm not positive.
Well, Alex. Well, then before I forget, why don't I go and just kind of explain why I think they might be closer to 5th. I think maybe just because they have a new coach in Lindy Ruff. It's a better system, than what they had in the other coach. Their defense on their left side is really good. Owen Power, Rasmus Dahlin, Bo Byram. They have really solid defensemen.
Solid defense.
I mean, they're big defensemen. You have a former Stanley Cup championship in Bo Byram. You have a good goaltender in Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, and you also have a good goaltender in Devin Levy. Levi.
I said it 2 seconds ago.
I don't pay attention. Listen, I'm here for the bid, remember? And I just think offensively, yes, they need a little bit of work. I mean, just look at all the forwards The Fords definitely have talent, man. I think you have a very good point about the ownership because look at all the Buffalo players that have been traded to other teams. They've won cups. Literally the year they've been traded.
No, I mean, like
Sam
I'm saying,
Reinhart went and won a fucking cup.
until Kim
Okposo
Pagula
won
gets
a
her
cup.
fingers off
Michael
the
won a
Sabres
cup.
like she did with the Bills, then
I don't
doing
know.
anything.
Whatever. Okposo, whatever
At this
their
point,
names
it's
are.
funny.
Once they get traded, they go and win cups. So clearly they're talented enough. So that's all I'll say on that. I have them 5th and 6th, kind of in that range. That
saying
just
Lindy
maybe they
Ruff
figured
is a positive. I don't get that.
I
I'm
think
with
it's
Rick
retrading old
100%
shit.
on
You're just
that.
trading
Lindy
old
Ruff sucks.
Right?
Holy
How's that?
crap.
How is that
Yeah.
like an improvement?
he was successful in New Jersey. The
right.
injuries bit him. He was
I
successful.
I
in
don't
New
think
Jersey,
it's a
but
good
go ahead.
organization
He's
either.
a
I mean, we saw the way they
dinosaur,
treated
man.
Jack Eichel. I mean,
This
Oh, yeah.
they're not a good organization.
He's about as much of a dinosaur as Dan Bilesma is. Dinosaur.
All right. Go ahead. Give us your thoughts, Alex.
Let me start with that. Lindy Ruff sucks. That dude is not going to make a difference.
Any coach not named John Tortorella sucks, by the way.
I never
Not
said
Marty
that.
St. Louis.
When the hell did I say that? Cam, mute your own mic for that comment. Anyway, so Buffalo's defense is where their positives come in. Bowen Byram, Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power. That's 3 really good defensemen right there. Their top 6 on paper isn't bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. Tage Thompson's a legit number 1 center. Alex Tuch is good. Jason Zucker's whatever at this stage of his career. I don't think he's much of a second-line left winger anymore. Zach Benson, I love. I will say that. That kid needs to keep moving up in their lineup. That's, in my opinion, was the best playmaker out of the 2023 draft. And if any team can ruin him, it's Buffalo. But this kid needs to get top 6 minutes, and they better keep him there consistently. I like one thing Matt said comparing them to being owned by the Pakulas. He compared them with the Bills, obviously, where the Bills no longer run them. I have another comparison for them for a football team. I compare them to the New York Jets, a team that just can't make the playoffs no matter what, a team that hasn't made the playoffs since Obama's first term. That should tell you a lot. I'll end it with this: 7th in the division.
Tage Thompson is a number 1 center and Nick Suzuki is not?
Who said that?
You just said Tage Thompson's the number 1 center
Who said
earlier.
Nick Suzuki's
He
not?
is their number 1 center, you muppet.
Oh, so
Rick,
because he is okay, I don't
Rick,
get your
stop.
logic. I don't get your logic. No, but seriously,
when did I
Tage
say
Thompson.
He's not a number 1 center.
You guys
You
said
were
it earlier.
Madison, not Suzuki.
We ended up talking about Suzuki in there, and you said,
And I didn't argue that Suzuki.
"Oh, I thought you guys argued that."
No, I think he's a legit top 20 center. I like Suzuki.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I
I
misunderstood earlier. That's
We'll have to
all.
rewind the tape. Rewind it. Let's go. Let's
No, I
rewind.
know for sure that's what was said. But all
We
right,
need
instant
moving on.
replay.
We need the lawyers in here to
Check
get
the
get it down. Check the tape. Roll it back.
Are we
Coach's
done
challenge.
with Buffalo? Are we done with bloody Buffalo?
Yeah, let's go to Detroit.
All right, 5th place team, Detroit Red Wings. They added some amazing goaltenders in Cam Talbot, Jack Campbell,
Why? Why Jack Campbell? I don't.
Eric Gustafson, and forward Tyler Mott. They lost David Perron, Daniel Sprong, James Reimer. Well, that's not really a loss. Zach Aston Reese, Shane Gosper. They still have 3 RFAs, and they're big for them. Maurice Sider, Lucas Raymond, and Jonathan Berggren.
Yeah.
Vogel, why don't you lead us off? Crickets. Crickets.
This
I
is
don't
Mike
think he
on?
heard you.
I
Vogel,
he probably
Vogel,
didn't
you're
hear.
going. Vogel.
He's gone.
You're first.
We're talking Detroit, baby. Come on, wake up.
All right, we're talking
Someone slap
Detroit.
him. We're talking Detroit.
Has it gone on too long for you, or no?
No,
Okay.
I wasn't listening to him. I kind of feel the same way about them as I do Buffalo. I don't think there's going to be. I think they'll probably still be the same spot they were in. If they finished last year with 91 points, they'll probably be flirting around that area again. I don't think that they're going to be a playoff team, but I mean, I don't know. I don't know a ton about Detroit. Any moves they've made, any of the guys they've picked up or lost, or
All right, who's next?
Probably
Rick,
not
let me go
the
to
best guy to go first.
Yeah, clearly. Go. What? What are we talking about?
I zoned out.
Are we
So the
recording?
Penguins. Yeah, it's
All right,
you,
who's
Rick.
next?
Go ahead. Rick, it's you. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm next. All right. Okay. If Jack Campbell plays any number of games for them, there's no way they can make. I mean, they're not making the playoff.
The
Why would they
goaltending's not
pick?
good.
Why would
It's
they
not.
pick up Jack Campbell? Like, does anybody know? That's weird. Like that, I don't get it. All right, Cam Talbot's not bad.
Yeah, but after him, it's suck.
Yeah, that's so goaltending's going to be garbage. They lost a lot. It seems like they lost a lot. If they can't sign the free agents, the RFAs, like until a while into the season, that's going to be screwed. So
I mean, they need, if they don't get more Cedar done,
and
let
Raymond,
alone him or Mason Raymond before the season starts, they're in a load of trouble.
They're in a
those
load
are
of
two
trouble.
of their best players. Like,
and that's going to be a lot of lost points. And so they're Montreal's going to finish ahead of them for sure.
I
have them finishing. I'll say I've adjusted. I have them finishing 7th.
Actually, Rick, I'm gonna agree with you on that because their goaltending situation isn't that great. I mean, they have Vialuso, they just picked up James Reimer, and I just don't think they made the necessary additions. Cam Talbot, I mean, sure, you added some experience, I think, in those two goaltenders, but
I think Cam Talbot's still he's a solid goalie. Like, again, he's not like a world beater.
He's old, man. He's old. He's old.
Yes, he can still do a job. Like,
he'll be a backup. He'll be a backup. But I genuinely think that the issues aren't just with the goaltending, but the defense too. That they can't get Moritz Seider done, then it's hard.
World of hurt. I know. I agree.
I think they're taking the route where the Toronto Maple Leafs are taking, where they're just like, well, if we just outscore our opponents, we'll win. No, that's not how you win. That's actually very much how you lose in consecutive first rounds.
Yeah,
all the time. So I don't know. I'm with you guys. I have Detroit finishing 7th. Alex, what do you think?
I no longer consider it the Yzer plan. I call it the Yzer scam because he is not pulling off the same magic that he did in Tampa Bay. I do not get what the hell they're doing in net. Both of those goalies or whatever. Patrick Kane, I have to give him a little bit of props. He revived his career. I thought he was burnt toast when it came to his hip, but he looked like he was a much better player than
surprised me.
Yeah, he surprised me too. I thought he was done. Then you add Vladimir Tarasenko, which is, I don't think something we've even talked about yet, but I don't know. Like, I feel like Detroit just feels like a team that's going to be about exactly what they were last year. A team that has horrible goaltending, probably the worst in the division, in my opinion. Good top 6, don't get me wrong. Good number 1 defenseman, but there's still issues there. I think
put together with Band-Aids, held together like kind of with Band-Aids, right?
I'm going to give Detroit 5th in the division. I think they're okay, but I don't think this team is going according to plan. It's been 8 years since they've made the playoffs, and I think it goes to 9. I don't think they're going to make it.
I mean, I'll close it with this. I think Alex has right about the offensive potency. They have a lot. I mean, they added Tarasenko, did they not? Or no, they didn't.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
they did. Sorry, I did miss that. Yes, I'm sorry. They also added Vladimir Tarasenko. So those were huge. So I mean, him and Kane are great.
Could be. Tarasenko's how old now?
He's 35. 35.
So that it depends, right? It could be good, and it might not be.
You're right, but Kane had a resurgence with the Brinket.
True.
So
and I didn't think he would.
You never know.
So,
and like Alex said, even after that hip.
Yeah, I didn't think he would, and he did. I'll admit to that. I don't like Patrick Kane, but I'll admit it.
All right, well then let's move to Tampa Bay.
The Tampa Bay Lightning. Yeah. No, I don't know.
Their acquisitions on Jurgensen's, Jake Gensel.
Jurgensen's. We just went over this.
Shit, dude. Cam Atkinson, Ryan McDonough, JJ Moser. Losses: Mikhail Sergachev, Steven Stamkos, Tyler Mott, Anthony Duclair, Tanner Jeannot, which was hilarious because of what they gave up for him.
Yes.
Calvin DeHaan and Matt Dumba.
They gave up like 7 picks.
It was just
5. I think it was 5. No, I think it was
like
5.
That. It was like 5.
They gave Philly that was the trade that sent
Nashville. They traded him to. They got him from Nashville.
Oh,
They gave up what, like 3 seconds, like 2/3.
Yeah.
It was something
I thought they
ridiculous.
the
And the
Tanner
first.
Trudeau trade?
And the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
They gave up
horrible.
a first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
That's right. It was like a shitload.
And now they're about to end up in 8th. No, I'm just kidding. Like it's just
if I'm going first, okay, this is what I want to say. They lost a lot, right? They lost.
No shit.
I think they got some good pieces in, but they lost too much. So
I think losing Sergachev's gonna hurt him.
Yeah, losing Sergachev's that's going to hurt them.
Not just
Ryan
even
McDonough's
Stamkos.
basically like a corpse now. Like, no disrespect to the guy, he's had a phenomenal career, but he's in the twilight era of his career.
Sorry, Matt. Who are you saying?
Ryan McDonough.
Yep.
Stamkos is a big loss. Why? Because he's a big leader there, been there forever. The way they let him go.
He was their captain.
And the way they did, they undercut like that. I think that's kind of horrible treatment. I don't think that's good. So I think they got some good pieces in Gensel. McDonough, I don't know if he's got anything left. Mosier's a good defenseman. But definitely not enough for what they lost. So this is why I think Montreal could make the playoffs. If I'm right in saying they could finish in 5th, Tampa could easily fall out.
I think they'd keep it close.
I
just
agree, but
yeah,
they could easily fall out. That's what I want to say. So 4th or 5th.
Yeah, I genuinely think Tampa did not recover from the losses. I think losing Mikhail Sergachev was huge.
That's hard. Yeah, that's tough.
And with what they lost, just giving up for Tanner Jeannot. I mean, Matt Dumba was a loss. He is a good depth defenseman. I think he's no longer his former self, but Calvin DeHaan was also a decent piece. Like JJ Mosier, sure, a good defenseman. Ryan McDonough is old. Like, what are they trying to rebuild? The 2020 Stanley Cup.
That's team? What I mean. Like, there's a lot of old age on that team. I mean, even like Vazic's 30. I mean, Vazic's still, I think, got some years left. But again, you kind of started to see him sort of show it last year a little bit, especially
more than last year.
Injury.
At least 2 seasons, you're starting to see Vazic on the way down a little bit.
They not only added age, but just mileage. I mean, if you look at the players that they added and then subtracted, Cam Atkinson doesn't have as much mileage on the rest of the players, but look at Jake Gensel. Jake Gensel's played a lot of hockey in his career too. Ryan McDonough's been playing in the playoffs very consistently.
He's going to be up there in terms of like you go back the past 5 years, he's probably played the most amount of hockey at you know what I mean? Like, he's got to be up there.
No, he's up there with that. And Alex, I'm not talking about from an age perspective too, because you can be old and just play 82 game seasons. But if you're going deep into the playoffs consistently, your mileage and the physicality in playoff hockey is much more different than that in a regular season game. So with all due respect to Cam Atkinson, he does not have that mileage compared to the rest of the players in the team. It's just the truth.
Oh yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying from that perspective, but he just fell off so hard last year when I think his is just he had a major injury the year before. I don't know. Cam just looks like a shell of the player he used to be. But yeah, I'll give a quick take on Tampa. This is a team I think that hello?
Yeah, no, you're good. Sorry, I was just gonna say I have him 5th.
I got Tampa. It really just depends. They go with Vasilevsky. Losing Stamkos huge. I got them. I'll put them 4th. I still think they'll be a wild card. Barely though.
I think they'll be fighting for a wild card. Vogel, what do you think?
I agree with that. I can see them, fighting for a wild card spot. They did lose a ton. I think that loss of Steven Stamkos is going to be huge. You not hear me?
Yeah,
we got you.
We can hear you.
Cam's or fucking equally bits over there. I think losing Stamkos.
It's just the way your voice sounds for a second. I'm sorry.
It
sounds a little strange.
No, it's still whatever, dude. I had a mic issue.
Okay, go ahead. What's your take? Sorry.
Hold on. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try to fix it. So
much better
right now. It's good. Better. It's good. Yeah, I think you weren't just speaking into the receiver. I think the receiver's at the top.
I am.
Okay, then you're good. I'm sorry. You just
is this better?
Yeah,
it's better.
All right. Good. Fuck you, Kim.
My bad. I'm just
Yeah, I think
chuckling.
that losing Stamkos is huge. I think that they completely botched that whole situation. They did lose a lot of good guys, but I kind of agree with Alex in the sense that Cam Atkinson isn't the player that he used to be. I am looking forward to see what Jake Gensel can do there. I have them same as you guys, like you were saying. I think they'll sneak into the playoffs, but I think they're going to be in that 4 spot in the Atlantic.
All right. Let's move on to the third place team in the Toronto Maple Leafs, everyone's favorite team.
Is it better? What did I do to this thing?
Oh boy!
He just came right in. He goes, "Guys, can you hear me now?" Oh God, I feel like I'm in that AT&T commercial. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He goes, "Guys, can you hear me now?" And he's like, "I just fixed this fucking thing."
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
I wish if they ever bring that commercial back and they do like live casting or like roll calls, I'm submitting your name and email address, and I can't wait to see you on TV. Like, guys, can you fucking hear me now? Like, are you?
When
sure?
you called on me for Detroit, I was trying to figure out what was going on. I had to switch mics on the fly.
You were doing great. You were doing great. Oh God. Okay, so Toronto. They
Fuck them too. Fuck them too.
They acquired
Fucking
defenseman
right.
Chris
Now we use the soundboard.
Hey, Vogel has the soundboard now. They
Oh,
acquired
did he
Chris.
really?
Yeah, he does.
Oh, I apologize. Then.
Yeah, you should apologize to me.
Yeah, you get one apology. You're not getting much more than that.
Oh my God! They acquired Chris Tanev, goalie Anthony Stolarz, defenseman Oliver Ekman Larson. Almost just Oliver Ekman Lars. They lost Tyler Bertuzzi, Noah Gregor, Mark Giordano, Martin Jones, Ilya Labushkin, TJ Brody, John Klingberg, Joel Edmondson. I'm ending it there because I think they lost more, and it was just too long of a list.
You forgot about Bertuzzi.
I said Bertuzzi. I said Bert.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
I respect the Bert. The Bert was a Bruin, so I respect him.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, this team I don't even know. They got worse. Maybe
Actually, you missed another big addition and subtraction. The coach.
Actually, I won't call that. Like, I'm talking in terms of players, but yes, you're right. They got a huge boost, I think, in terms of coaching Greg Berube. I think that coach is exactly what Toronto needed. The one thing I still think they need is a defense, because I think adding Chris Tanev as your top right paired defenseman or left
34 years old at an 8-year contract.
Oh God, that was terrible.
Great GMing.
It'd be good for 1 year. I think it'd be good for 1 year. That's it.
That's it. I think it'll be good for half a year. Maybe because Greg Berube plays a very physical system. I think Toronto's going to struggle trying to adapt to his system. I actually, the only thing I think saves them is their still high powered offense.
But I wonder how some of those guys will kind of, because a lot of guys like Marner, Matthews, those guys are kind of prima donnas. So I wonder how they're gonna kind of
respond to Berube.
I'll actually say this:
coaching.
If they don't respond to Berube, that's it. They're benched. They're not. If Marner pulls the same crap, or whoever went into the locker room,
that was Mitch Marner.
He's not coming back on the ice. Keefe was a pushover for that. Yeah. He's not coming back on the ice. I can guarantee that. Like, just seeing how the St. Louis Blues in 2019 manhandled the Bruins, but there's no way.
But they can sort of fight back by not play as good. So that could be if they want to be the divas that they are. That's how that could work out, with the coach. So we'll see. I don't know why am I last on Toronto.
I mean that may be, Rick, but I don't know. I don't think Toronto. I think Toronto made some necessary additions, but they lost quite a bit. I would have tried to keep Joel Edmondson as a bottom pairing defenseman. He had a good size, and
but he got $4 million over wherever he went. He got $4 million.
I know. I mean, good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
I'm glad they lost Noah Gregor, who is. I think he's a bigger body, is he not? Like, he was a hitter. Wasn't he?
I don't know much about him. I think so.
So I don't know. It seems like they really didn't gain back with what they lost. I mean, they got all OEL, but
if that's an offensive defenseman, you get. It doesn't help the defense. Defense.
I mean, they still have Timothy Liljegren, or Liljegren, however you want to say it.
He's kind of up and
Liljegren.
down. He's not really that consistent.
Yeah.
That's kind of his.
He's
problem.
not, but I think he is an NHL defenseman. But I don't think I think they're keeping all of like these bottom pairing guys and they're elevating them, and I think that's going to be their biggest downfall. Joseph Wall proved himself in the playoffs the way I see it. Yeah. And the offense.
Stolarz is good too.
Stolarz is good too. I think they have good goaltending now. And I think they have a good offense, obviously, fueled by Tavares, Marner, McMahon, and all of those guys. And
I still don't think they've signed Nick Robertson yet, though.
Yeah, they have. I don't think they are. I think he's actually requested a trade.
He wants to trade. Yeah,
So
I think you're right. Yeah.
That's the biggest. These are the biggest problems with Toronto, and their biggest of them all is defense. And I wonder, and like Rick said, how are they going to respond to Greg Berube?
Yeah, no, I think that's the big question. And look, I mean, I still think they're going to be good enough to make a playoff spot, but until they prove that they can do things in the playoffs, I mean, that's all they're going to be. Like good regular season team, but probably another first round exit. Until I see with my eyes that they can win in the playoffs, that's the highest I'm ever going to give them.
Where do you guys have Vogel? What are your thoughts before we go into how they finish?
Kind of the same. I think they'll make the playoffs, but I don't think they do anything again. They'll probably lose to Boston again.
Right, because that's the thing, right? Like until they prove it to us, like with our own eyes, until we watch them actually play competitive playoff hockey, like it's.
Oh, no, I think they did that this year. No, I think they did that this year against Boston, but I think they lost what gave them that edge against Boston this offseason. That's what I think that they lost. Alex, what do you think?
D-core is shit. They have one pair. Tanev is going to fall off in about a year or two. I mean, their forward core is good still. Don't get me wrong. It's still an elite top six. But Joseph Wall I like, but I think the Leafs are just the Leafs. I know Berube is going to install a more physical style there. Is going to make them probably be more defense first, but I don't see the Leafs doing anything when it matters. I'll put them second in the division, but they'll go one and done like they always do.
Cool.
What about me?
I'm just gonna say this. I have them. I don't have them moving up or down. I think I have them at fourth. I think they drop a little bit.
Didn't you say they're going to win the cup as a bold prediction in our chat?
What, the Toronto Maple Leafs? Hell no.
You said they were going to make the cup as a bold prediction last year. This year in our chat. Yes, you did.
Did not.
Yes, you did. I'll find it. Don't make me feel it.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead and find
receipts.
It. Yeah, pull up the receipts, buddy, because if I said that, it was definitely not serious.
If you said that, it's wheel of punishment for you.
I don't agree with it. I said they'll go one and done. I'm saying what Cam said.
I literally said they're going to meet with Boston again in the first round, likely, and then they're going to get kicked out. That's what I think. But whatever. Rick, what do you think?
Okay, I'm going to be a little more eloquent this time. Fuck the Leafs. Okay, so
did you say elegant or eloquent? Because that was definitely not
eloquent. I thought that was very eloquent. Okay, in my video, I had them finishing first in the division. I didn't really like that I did that. To the point where someone called me a Leafs lover in a comment, and I got really mad. All right, they lost a lot. Their defense is still bad. They're better in net. And although I think with the defense that they added are the kind of guys they needed, but I don't think that they did a good enough job.
Not really.
A point you guys all forgot, they just stripped Jonathan what's his name?
Tavares, captain,
from the captaincy and gave that to Matthews. How's that going to really play out I know what they showed the public, but how's that really going to play out in the locker room? And yeah, I'm going to say I'm changing my first place finish. I kind of think it's going to be third or fourth in the division.
I agree.
Probably.
Quick note to something in a callback where we mentioned this way earlier in the year, where we said that it's more than just the coach, it's the captain. It was a multi-layered thing, and I think we must have echoed to them or willed it because they changed the coach, they changed the captain. The only thing that they didn't change was the management. So
the thing is, they did it a year or two too late.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We lost Alex.
No, you had to go.
Yep. If you had, yeah.
Okay. So let me change the. Go ahead. Keep talking.
So yeah, maybe this does impact something. I don't know how great a leader of Matthews is. I don't think he's ready. I would have given it to Morgan Riley. I've said it 100 times. Would have given it to Morgan Riley. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Vogel,
with you. Yeah, I thought Morgan Riley's the most deserving.
I agree.
I mean, and I've said it a million times, but every time I watched him in the playoffs.
No, I've said it a million times.
Fuck off. He's been like the one guy that's been consistently always working his ass off, trying very hard to, will the team to victory, and it just always seemed like the forwards just kind of dropped off, and again, there's proof of it. I mean, look up any of their first round losses, especially in the big games. If they go down a goal, the heads drop, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. I don't think that's going to change at all.
No, I don't think so either, especially with Matthews as captain. I don't know. I don't know. I don't think he's that good of a leader.
When your captain has no heart to go into the corners and really do that, really isn't that guy. What is his leadership going to be like?
Toronto's they're always going to be Toronto. They're always going to have the same problems. They're always going to be the same team. I mean, they have been for so long, and I don't see them changing.
It's in their culture. It's in their culture, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
so, I have them finishing second because, like I said, I still think they're going to be good enough to make the playoffs. But
regular season
they'll be one and done
okay.
again.
They'll be okay.
But they'll choke again.
Oh, without a doubt.
I think they had. Yeah, I mean, I still think third or fourth, but I think I'm leaning towards fourth. I just think that defense is not it, and Berube's the new coach, and if they don't respond well, that's the only reason why I say fourth. I don't know. All right, second place team, the Boston Bruins.
Fuck the Bruins.
Oh, he's cheering the fuck the Bruins. Hey, we love the haters, buddy.
Oh.
We smell them. We love them. Love the hate. We acquired Ford, Max Jones, Elias Lindholm, Marcus Stillick, defenseman Nikita Zadorov, and goaltender Jonas Korpisalo. We lost defenseman Matt Grzelcyk, for James Van Riemsdyk, goaltender Linus Ullmark, Jake DeBrusk, Danton Heinen, Kevin Shattenkirk, Jacob Lauko, Milan Lucic, and Jesper Boquist.
Fuck Lucic too.
Okay. Yeah, no. We're not going to address that. We're not going to
freeze up money.
We're not going to address that.
Oh no, but I'm not going to say more.
Sure. I'll lead us off with the Bruins, and then we'll go to Matt, and then we'll leave with obviously the two Canadian haters down there. I think the Bruins got exactly what they needed in the offseason, and they added a little bit of more size on the bottom six that they so desperately needed. I think there's still a question mark at the second line right wing, whether or not that's going to be Markulov or Lysell. That remains yet to be seen. I think their defense is easily top 3 in the league. I mean, if you just look at their sheer size, there's no one under 6'4" outside of McAvoy, and no one weighing less than 220 or something like that. It's staggering. So the Boston Blue Line, I think, again, is one of the top in the league. There's still obviously a question mark whether or not Jeremy Swayman gets signed. When he gets signed, not if. It seems as though there's a little bit of a discrepancy there. He wants $10 million. That is reported by some sources that are starting to seem a little questionable. I
don't know. I looked up the stories.
It's pretty close to that, if not 10 million. I did a little research on it. I also know that he is planning on sitting out of preseason and whatnot until he's signed. He's not he's planning.
He's not allowed. That's the thing, though. He's not allowed to under the CBA. He cannot play unless he has a contract. So it doesn't matter if that's his plan. That's just the way it's written.
That's the way it is.
Yeah. So it's like, if it isn't, but they're both confident that it gets done. I bet you anything Don Sweeney's probably saying that he wants to sign him around $7.5 million so we can get some PTOs that were rumored in Blake Wheeler and Kyler Yamamoto.
They're only sitting with, I think, 8-6 right now.
Yeah.
So 8-6,
You don't have the 10 million to give him.
It's higher. It's about
No, it's 8.6.
No, it's
according to
8.6
No, it's
for
8.6.
Puckpedia.
I know, but it's because they filled the roster. But like earlier without Swayman, we actually have about 9.2 to sign.
It's 8.6 without him right now. Go to Puckpedia.
We have $9.2 million because we can move players down to
8.6 or 9.2. We still don't have 10.
Yeah, I know.
So I'm hoping, and we talked about it earlier. I'm hoping that that's just a negotiation tactic. Like, hey, he wants 10. The Bruins will offer 8. They meet somewhere in the middle.
Right.
I think realistically, I mean, I don't think that he's not going to get 10. I don't know what other top goalies in the league are making. He hasn't played a full season yet.
Bob's at 10, and obviously Price is at 10.5. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Then Bassey's at 9.5. Then it drops.
Yeah, but those are goalies that have started.
Yeah, he hasn't played a full season as the number one goalie. He's always split time with Omar. So again, I'm hoping it's a negotiation tactic, but I mean, who knows? And I forget the guy's name. His agent is known for prolonging, holdouts, and I think he did it with Nylander a couple of years ago.
Sure.
That's why I asked
you. At the end of the day, that'll damage Swayman's reputation. At the end of the day, if honestly, if Sweeney is at let's say 7.5, and they're at 10, he goes, you know what, I'll do 8.5. And if it's the agent that's really gonna be holding him out, he's gonna do damage to Swayman. So
I think I've heard it's term as well that they're far apart on. It's money and term.
If I'm Don Sweeney, I'm doing 8 at 9 or 8 at 8.5. It's something.
I think he wants a I could be way off on this, but I think I saw something that he wants a shorter term because I don't know if they want to restructure it, but the cap is going up within the next 2 years. I think
that I don't know where that came from. He wants long term. It was noted that they wanted long term.
Well, that's what I thought, but then I thought I saw somebody say he wanted a shorter term. Maybe I read it wrong. I'm not sure.
I don't know, maybe, but
I mean, they will have more money to play with because the cap's going up either next year or the year after. But I don't think there's any way that he gets 10. I don't think. First of all, I don't think that he's worth 10 without proving it. And I don't think the Bruins are willing to pay him that.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, either that, if they really do have the faith, or if they do end up with their hands tied, Korpisalo's gone. They will do whatever they can to move Korpisalo, even if it's attaching a second-round pick for someone to eat that contract. They will do it.
Well, what other choice do you have?
Exactly.
Swayman is in complete control of the situation right now.
Yeah, I think I think Don Sweeney shot himself in the foot trading Allmark before he had the extension in place.
Oh, so don't
I think you're right. I think Jeremy Swayman holds all the cards right now. He's going.
He has them bent over a barrel.
You pay me, or you're running with Jonas Korpisalo.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I think he knows that too. So no, you're absolutely right. I still think that the deal gets done.
That's the scary part.
I think the deal gets done. It might get done a week before the season starts, but it does get done. He has been skating and training with the team. He is allowed to do that. He's just not allowed to play. That's the only stipulation. But if he was a UFA, he's not allowed to do either unless he has a PTO. So those are the only questions. But assuming Swayman gets signed, they actually have a crack at the top of the division again. They're deeper, they're bigger, and I think Swayman is a better goalie than Bobrovsky. I think the defense is a better defense than any other defense in the Atlantic Division. The offense, I think, is okay. And I think, but acquiring Elias Lindholm is going to help a ton. They now have a bona fide 1C that they can use, and he's only one season removed from a 0.8 points per game average over the last 3 years. He hasn't shown really anything of a decline, despite popular opinion. It's not. The numbers are there. One season is not enough to determine a decline after years of consistency. Right. So I don't know. That's what I think. I have Boston finishing first or second. Vogel, what do you think?
I have him in the same spot. Like you said, getting Lindholm was huge. We needed that first line center. That second line wing is still the biggest question. We've talked about it a bunch. If you ask me, it's got to be Lysell. I mean, he's got to come out for camp.
I think this is his last chance to to kind of prove it.
Listen, I agree. We've said the same thing too. It's either this year or nothing.
Because he's what 21, 22. I mean, he's
21.
Yeah, I mean he's at the point where either he's going to show that he can make the team, or he is what he is.
So here's the thing: Adam McQuaid has said Lysell has made excellent strides. He had 50 points in 56 games with Providence this year. So it's not like he's not performing in certain levels, but I think his biggest issue is that he's not. I've watched him skate. He doesn't go into the corners. He doesn't try and get. He's very lackadaisical. But the problem is that, like, if you're going to be that lackadaisical, then you need to be a David Pasternak, where you need to prove that you're not going to be that guy that goes in the corner. You're more of the guy that needs to get open for the shot and do it. But he hasn't proved that. He hasn't shown that willingness. And I think the Bruins are known for wanting their players to be like a little bit more gritty to get there. Like, you know what I mean? Look at Marchand, one of the best puck retrievers in the NHL and one of the best two-way forwards. The guy can pick the puck up out of the boards like no tomorrow. Like, he can twist and turn his hips and body like no other. And he's at the age of, like, what, 34, 35?
35, I think, going on 36.
Yeah.
Well, I do sort of wonder how much he has left. I mean, I still think he has another year, maybe two. But, again, he's kind of getting to that age where, it can kind of happen out of nowhere. So you never know there.
Yeah, I think he's at 1 or 2 more years left. Before we throw it down to Matt and Rick and see what they think about where they're going to stand next year. You made a good point with the defense. I could not be more excited to watch the defense, see what they can do. I mean, Zadorov and McAvoy on the blue line is going to be huge. I know McAvoy had a tough playoff run last year, but hoping he can bounce back and be that stud defenseman that we need. Matt and Rick, what do you guys think?
Go first, Matt.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think the Bruins definitely make a play for first in the division. I do like their defense a lot. Definitely vastly improved. I think McAvoy Zadorov is one of the best top pairs in the league. Like I said, I mean, I think really my biggest question mark right now is the goaltending, because again, we don't know what's going to happen with Swayman. And again, I mean, even if that deal does get signed, say a week before the season starts, he's coming into the season a little cold, but I don't think it'll affect him that much because he's still very young. But no, I think Bruins are a solid team. They should contend for first in the division. As far as the playoffs go, I mean, I think they should be able to make a run. But again, we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But I think they should be contending for first in the division.
My turn. Oh shit! I had stuff I wanted to say. I want to see we don't play them in preseason. First time we played the Bruins, Kastelik and Arbor Jacki fighting. I want to see that.
Shit! That's the guy that Arbor knocked out twice, right?
Wiped the floor with him. Let's see. What else do I think? I think as much as I want to say they're going to drop out, because I've been saying this for a few years, they're going to drop out of the playoffs, and they don't. And it pisses the fucking hell out of me that they don't. They're probably going to finish around where they are. I agree about Marchand. It's any year now. So, I think you guys, your window is still open probably for a couple more years because of it was good additions. So like you say, there were a lot of guys left, but the team is probably better than they were last year, right? So I agree with that. What else? I had something else I wanted to say. No, that's about it. I mean, I hope if they meet the Leafs, they kick their ass hard. Did they beat them this year? They played this year, right? They kicked their ass harder.
Yeah.
I hope they kick their ass harder.
Game 7. Yeah.
Right. I hope they kick the Leaf ass harder, which is great. And other than that, just fuck the Bruins, because.
Sorry, we love the haters here in Boston.
That's right, Rick. They got a while to go before they get to the top of the Cup Mountain.
We're gonna kick their ass in 2-3 years consistently.
It's okay. You guys can enjoy kicking our asses in fights, but we'll enjoy beating the shit out of you in the game. So that's all that matters the most.
For another year or two, and then it goes back to the way it used to be, where Montreal.
That's the cycle,
and
buddy.
Boston in the playoffs.
That's the cycle.
Montreal victory.
Hey, buddy, that's it. Hey, don't forget, in 2011, we knocked you guys out of the playoffs sent us into our Stanley Cup winning year.
Count how many
I don't
times
care.
we did that to you as opposed to you did that to us.
No, yeah, that's fine, Rick. Back then in the original 6, it wasn't really uncommon. Like I won't lie to you. Montreal knew how to build. Anyway, all right, moving on to the eventual Stanley Cup winners of the 2023-2024 season, the Florida Panthers. I want to say very hard earned. I think it was a long time coming, 30 years in the making. As a Bruins fan, I'm still salty about the Sam Bennett thing. I'm never going to let that go. But that's more on the NHL and their rules and anything else. But no, honestly, big time congratulations to the Florida Panthers. Your whole fan base of 12 fans just grew to 24. So, no, you guys made some decent acquisitions, I think, in Jesper Boquist, Thomas Nosek, Adam Boquist, Nate Schmidt, and AJ Greer. A couple big guys in there. Thomas Nosek was big, actually. I actually like him on the depth centerpiece. You guys lost a lot, though. That's the problem. It's Kevin Stenlund, Ryan Lomberg, Vladimir Tarasenko, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Josh Mahura, Brandon Montour, Anthony Stolars. Ooh,
lost a lot.
Those are big, and they were mainly on the defensive end. Yeah. And I'm going to start with this because I want to say I'm very concerned about the defense. You guys are deep on the forward. They are, I think, with at least in Florida. But I think that defense, Bob does not have as much as he did previously. And he lost a good backup in Stolars.
Yeah.
And I think Spencer Knight is still in the players' assistance program.
Yeah.
And all the best to him. I hope he gets to where he needs to be. But that's why I think Florida lost a lot of potency. I think they did. And, it's not a knock on them. They spent a lot to get that cup, and they deserve that cup. But, I'm kind of hard pressed to think that they repeat what they were able to last year. Why don't we go to Vogel, my other brother in Christ, who is also mourning that second round loss with me?
It's not even just last year, and Florida fans are gonna love this, but it's still the past couple of years. The Panthers have had the Bruins number like crazy, We can't get past them, and I don't. I mean, they've been good, and again, they were a wagon last year. They earned that cup, but it's been so frustrating. I think they're probably gonna finish number maybe number 2 this year, hopefully behind Boston. But I mean, they even with losing all those guys, they still have Barkov.
It's still a solid team, top to bottom, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they're still really good. I don't know a ton about their goalie situation. Between Spencer, who's their backup? I mean, obviously Bob is their starter, but it's Spencer.
I don't know who else.
I don't know who their starters right now.
So they're just solely relying on Bobrovsky. I mean,
well, that we know of. There might be. I don't know.
Yeah.
It must have required somebody.
I think they're still going to be good this year. Hopefully, if it comes down to Florida and Boston in the playoffs, that we can finally break that curse and get by him. But I have them finishing second this year in the division.
Makes sense.
Matt.
Yeah. No, I think I was just looking to see the goaltending situation, but
I will say this: it is listed. Spencer Knight is listed as.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
So I think
it's Bob and Spencer Knight. But no, look, I think overall they're still a really solid squad. Should be a playoff squad. Wouldn't be shocked if they have a bit of a cup hangover, but again, I still think they're plenty solid enough to finish in the top 3 in the division again. Still a pretty physical team. I'm a big Matt Tkachuk fan. I think he's just a tremendous player. He does do a lot of
he needs to keep that goddamn mouth guard in his mouth. I can't. I don't know why it bothers me so much. I don't know why it bothers me. I just feel like someone's going to hit him and he's going to swallow it. He's going to choke on it. And he's going to die. And I'm going to be sitting there on my couch being like, I told you.
It bothers everybody because I read a lot about it, and I think he does that on purpose.
I'm sure at this point, I'm sure he does it.
Yeah, for me, it's not even an annoying thing. It's just a safety thing for me. I just get concerned about the kid. I'm just like, oh my god, if he gets hit, he's gonna die. I just don't know why I think that.
I'm pretty sure I saw that, and when they did the Stanley Cup exhibit or the Florida exhibit at the Hall of Fame, they had his mouth guard in like a glass case. Those
bastards. They're doing it to me. They're doing it to me. Like, I don't know what it is.
No, I feel the same way. I hate it. I hate it.
I'm just like, I know players chew on it, but oh my god, not while they're skating. It just, I don't know. It's a concern.
Yeah, while he's playing, he's supposed to have it in his mouth.
Start calling him for a penalty. I don't know. Just God, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, and I don't know why it bothers me so much. Sorry, Matt. Go ahead. I know you're a big Kachuk fan. You straddle his dick much like Alex straddles Giroux's.
No, not even close. But no, look, I mean, they still have Sam Reinhart. They're able to hold on to him. Like I said, I still think they're a very solid team all around. Should be competing for a playoff spot. I got them finishing probably third behind Toronto because, again, I think they will have a bit of a cup hangover. But again, I think any of those top three teams could kind of like you could put them anywhere, and I think it'd be fair.
I'm kind of surprised that you have them at third. To be honest with you, I mean, I thought second or first. I think they still have the team to compete for first. I think you're right. The hangover, but I think my concern is the little bit on the defensive depth and Bob.
Yeah.
But if they start out bad, say they start out with only in the first 10 games they got 2 wins, say, right? Because of the hangover, that could be a difference between first, second, or third. Really.
I actually want to attribute a lot to Paul Maurice. I don't think it'll be that.
I think
long.
Paul Maurice
he is a phenomenal coach.
He's a good coach, definitely.
So, he's better than Martin St. Louis.
No.
Well, who has a cup as a coach and who doesn't?
That's your opinion.
Marty won it as a player.
Oh, yeah, he did win it as a player, but like under Tortorella, which is funny. He won it under Tortorella.
It's like I told Vogel earlier. You're allowed to your wrong opinions. I never take them away from you. So
it's a good thing, Daddy.
Like I am. Wrong. Like I'm allowed to my right opinions. You're allowed to your wrong ones.
Another kick in the dick too for this season is our first game is in Florida, so we have to sit there and watch the stupid fucking banner.
Yeah, what a ball buster that is.
Yeah,
that's true.
Schedule for that.
That is true. But we got you guys second game.
Yeah,
that's going to make it so much better. That's the revenge tour.
It's the second game of our second 2 in a row.
We're at home against Toronto, and the next night we're in Boston.
Yeah, I think that's Cam. I think that's our the Centennial game they were planning, or it could be maybe in December. It's one game against Montreal.
I think the December game might be the Centennial.
That might be what it is because the fan fest over the weekend we went to was like the start of like 100 days of hockey, which would make sense if it was in December.
Yep,
it was a countdown to that Centennial game.
If you can hear me, my screen is frozen.
You're absolutely right, dude.
We got you.
So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Okay, I unfroze.
Yeah, so that's gonna suck sitting there and watch them, celebrate after
I know that's gonna stink so
handled
bad.
us in the playoffs.
No, that's
That's gonna be a real kick in the balls.
I'm not turning that game on until like a half hour afterwards because I know I won't have to watch it. I can't do it. I can't sit there and be like, I can't.
I think I'm gonna do a live stream for that one, but I'm gonna like it a lot. So I can't say I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you guys.
Rick, I know it's hard for you to get pleasure nowadays with your age and everything like that.
It is.
That's the thing that gets you off at night. I think you might need to go see a doctor.
Listen, you got to
seeing a banner raise. Come on,
you got to go with the flow. No. The unhappiness of the fans.
We'll live stream the second game against Montreal so we can bring it back down to earth a little bit.
Oh no! My prediction is we're gonna beat Toronto and then beat you guys.
Oh, bold.
All right.
So there you go. Start. All right. It's a hot take. Hey, listen. All right. So Florida, I agree with basically what you guys said. For me, how is Bob going to be? Because if Bob is not that good and he struggles at the beginning of the season, that could really ruin where they're going to finish. So I tend to think that they're probably going to finish second or third in the division. I think Boston might finish first.
I will say this. Spencer Knight's a really good goaltender.
He is.
No, he is.
We don't know what he went into the program for. It might take him a little bit of an adjustment period.
So
is all I'm saying.
So before he has to actually be cleared to play before the NHLPA. He has to go through. It's a process. He can't.
Once you're released,
I'm cured.
No, when you're released, you're cleared to play.
Yes, but it's a process that the NHL approves of.
Right.
So
yeah, of course.
I'm pretty sure they wouldn't allow him to play if he himself did not believe. Well, actually, that's not true because look at Bobby Ryan and how many.
That's not what I meant, though.
Other players.
That's not what I meant. he could be 100%, and that's fine. But it's still an adjustment period getting back into it. So I don't know.
Oh yeah,
Will that take him a while, or does he adjust real quick? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they still have an amazing forward core, and they still have they have Barkov, Kachuk, Bennett. I love Anton Lindell, Carter Verhaeghe. I think
Great forward core.
I think Eric Rodriguez is actually really overrated for what he is. I'm sorry, Florida Panthers fans, but I think he really is overrated. A little bit on the same side as Sam Bennett. But they also have Ryan Hart too. They have a good top six. I think it's the depth I'm a little bit worried about, the depth on defense, and who your goaltender is going to be if Bob starts to rapidly decline, because he also played a lot of hockey and he had to stand on his head in Game 7 for them to win it because Edmonton was hunting in those final moments.
You might think Bennett and Rodriguez are overrated, but not in the playoffs.
Yeah, sure.
I know you have this thing for Bennett, and it's fine, but that's a playoff kind of player. So he steps up his game.
No, they performed. No, like I said,
and Rodriguez seems to too. So.
And I think they'll make a splash, if they can. So they'll be good, but they're also going to be strapped for money. Unless they pull the Mark Stone treatment where the GM just sucker punches Matt Kachuk and is just like, sorry, dude, his kidney's out.
I'd like to see that in the face while he's chewing.
Okay, well, your kidney's not in the face, but okay.
Okay, but he punches him so hard that it affects his kidney. How's that?
He punches him so hard in the face, his teeth actually become his mouth guards.
There you go. I like that.
Oh, yes. My God. All right. Yeah, no, I think that does it, Rick. Why don't you take us out?
I have to take you out. Hang on. I got to do things to do that. All right. So thank you, everybody. We'll be back. This is going to be the last break for the summer period. So we're going to be back in 2 weeks, and then we'll be going to every week for the season. So, don't look for us next week, but we'll be back after that. So I'm not sure what we're going to be doing then. So I can't really tell you what to tune in for because it is 2 weeks away. But we'll come up with something topical that everybody will be interested in. And hopefully you guys will join us for that. So till then,
get excited.
On behalf of the band,
freaking excited. Go follow us on Go follow us on TikTok, baby. Don't Puck with Media. Let's freaking go. Daily posts of videos. Are you freaking amped yet? This hockey season's only a little bit more than a month away. Bitches, come on. I want to hear you.
Preseason is less than that. And check out our shorts because when there's stuff to talk about, we're going to be putting shorts up there. And just check us out in general. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. Till next time, stay safe out there. Peace out. And I got to get the piece of music I got to play. So this is to advertise the Have Normals podcast on the other channel. Don't laugh at me. Have a good one, everybody.